message came without warning. It appeared on every screen, every hologram projector, and every communication device across all of human space. From Earth to the distant colonies of Kepler 442, the same terrifying image flickered to life. A creature stood before them. It was tall, perhaps 3 meters high, with a body made of dark purple chitin like an insect. Its eyes numbered 6, each one glowing with cold yellow light. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Species designation: human. You are summoned before the Cosmic Council of the 12 Ascended Dominions. You will present yourselves at the nexus of eternity within 40 standard rotations. Non-compliance will result in sterilization of your worlds. This is not a negotiation. The message ended. Silence fell across 17 star systems. Fleet Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, the UTS Defiance. She was 63 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen too many battles. Around her, officers scrambled to analyze the transmission. Fear was thick in the air. "Get me the War Council," she said. Her voice was calm. It had to be. Within minutes, holographic figures shimmered into existence around the bridge. Admirals from every human fleet. Generals from every colony. Scientists from the greatest research stations. And one figure who stood apart from the others, hidden in shadow. This one represented Project Prometheus, humanity's darkest and most closely guarded secret. "We have confirmed the source of the transmission," said Commander James Wright, the ship's intelligence officer. "It originated from the galactic core. The power required to broadcast simultaneously across our entire territory is beyond anything we thought possible. What do we know about this council?" Admiral Vasquez asked. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward. She was the chief Xena historian, a woman who had spent her life studying the fragments of alien civilizations humanity had discovered. Her face was pale. "The Cosmic Council has existed for over 100,000 years, she said. "They control most of the galaxy. 12 species, each one ruling a vast empire. Together, they have more ships than we have people, more weapons than we have atoms in our bodies." She paused, gathering herself. "They have done this before, Admiral. 17 times in the last 10,000 years, they have summoned young species like us. Every single one of those species no longer exists. The Council calls it sterilization. They mean extinction, complete and total. They burn worlds. They hunt survivors. They erase all evidence that the species ever existed." The bridge fell silent. Officers looked at each other with growing horror. "Why?" asked Admiral Chun Wei, commanding the Third Fleet. "Why would they destroy entire species?" "Control," Dr. Tanaka replied. "The Council believes that the galaxy belongs to them. Any species that might one day challenge their power is destroyed before it can grow strong. They see us as weeds to be pulled from their garden." Admiral Vasquez turned to the shadowed figure from Project Prometheus. Everyone knew that Prometheus existed, but few knew what it actually did. It was funded by every human government, protected by layers of secrecy that would make ancient spy agencies jealous. "You have been quiet," she said. "Do you have anything to add?" The figure stepped forward slightly. The shadow still hid its face, but its voice was clear. It was a woman's voice, calm and almost amused. "The Council is powerful," the Prometheus representative said, "but they are also arrogant. They have ruled for so long that they have forgotten what it means to be challenged. They scan our ships and see primitive fusion drives. They look at our weapons and see toys. They believe we are children playing at civilization." She paused. "They are wrong." Admiral Vasquez felt something shift in her chest. Hope, perhaps. Or maybe just the first spark of defiance. 200 years ago, the Prometheus representative continued. Human explorers discovered something on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. A vault, hidden beneath the ice. It was built by a species we now call the architects. They were the ones who constructed the Nexus of Eternity, the Council's seat of power. They were the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever known. What happened to them? Admiral Chun Wei asked. The Council murdered them. The architects tried to stop the Council's expansion. They believed in cooperation, not domination. So the Council united against them and burned their worlds to ash. But before they died, the architects hid pieces of their knowledge across the galaxy. They hoped that one day, another species would find it. A species that could finish what they started. The bridge was utterly silent now. Every officer stared at the shadowed figure. We found their vault. We spent 2 centuries studying their technology, learning their science, understanding their weapons. The representative's voice hardened. The Council thinks we are primitive. They think we will come to them begging for mercy. They are about to learn the truth. Admiral Vasquez stepped closer. Are you saying we can fight them? I am saying we can end them. For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of those words hung in the air like thunder before a storm. Finally, Admiral Vasquez turned to face the assembled holograms of humanity's military leaders. She saw fear in their eyes, but she also saw something else. Determination, anger, the stubborn refusal to go quietly into the dark. The Council has given us 40 days to present ourselves for judgment, she said. They expect us to arrive weak and afraid. They expect us to beg. Her voice rose. They expect us to die like all the others. She smiled, and there was nothing friendly in it. We will go to their nexus. We will stand before their thrones. And we will teach them what happens when you threaten humanity. Across 17 star systems, preparations began. Ships that had been hidden for decades received orders to activate. Weapons that had never been tested were loaded and armed. Soldiers who had trained for a war they thought would never come began to assemble. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 100,000 years. They had destroyed entire civilizations without mercy. They believed themselves to be gods, but gods could bleed. Gods could fall, and humanity was coming out in the shadows of Project Prometheus. The representative smiled. Everything was going according to plan. The architects had left humanity more than just technology. They had left a message, a warning, and a hope. The time had come to fulfill that ancient promise. The 40 days began to count down. The human fleet arrived at the Nexus of Eternity on the 39th day. They had not rushed. They had not panicked. They had come exactly when they intended to come. Ambassador David Chun stood at the observation window of his ship and stared at the structure before him. The Nexus was enormous beyond imagination. It was a space station the size of a small moon, built from metals that shimmered with colors that had no name. It orbited a dying red star, drawing power from its ancient fire. Billions of beings lived on the Nexus. Hundreds of species walked its corridors, conducted their business, and watched the endless parade of ships that came and went. But today, every eye turned toward the small fleet of human vessels approaching the docking bays. They are scanning us, reported Captain Sarah Brooks from the bridge. Their sensors are very powerful. They can see everything inside our ships. Ambassador Chun nodded. He was a small man, 52 years old, with a kind face that hid a sharp mind. He had been chosen for this mission because he could remain calm in impossible situations. He would need that skill today. Let them scan, he said. They will see exactly what we want them to see. The human ships appeared primitive compared to the massive vessels of the Council species. They looked like toys next to the dreadnoughts that could destroy entire planets. The Council observers laughed at them. Some even felt pity for the foolish little species that thought it could. Bargain with gods. The docking procedures took 3 hours. When they were complete, Ambassador Chun led a delegation of 12 humans through the airlock and into the Nexus. They wore simple gray uniforms with no decorations. They carried no visible weapons. They looked like exactly what the Council expected. Frightened children come to beg for their lives. A creature with 4 arms and skin like liquid silver met them at the gate. It was a Sylvathy, one of the 12 Council species. It towered over the humans and made no effort to hide its contempt. "Follow," it commanded. The Council waits. Do not speak. Do not touch anything. Do not look at your betters directly. Ambassador Chun said nothing. He simply walked forward with his delegation behind him. They were led through corridors that stretched for kilometers. The architecture was designed to intimidate. Ceilings rose hundreds of meters above their heads. Statues of the Council species stood everywhere, carved from precious stones and metals. Holographic displays showed images of destroyed worlds, conquered peoples, and the endless might of the 12 dominions. Other aliens watched the humans pass. Some were tall and elegant. Others were small and covered in fur. Some floated on fields of energy. Others crawled on dozens of legs. All of them stared at the humans with the same expression, curiosity mixed with pity. Everyone knew what happened to species summoned by the Council. After 2 hours of walking, they reached the Hall of Supplication. This was the final corridor before the Council chamber. It was 5 kilometers long and designed to make anyone walking through it feel small and worthless. The walls showed holographic images of species that had been sterilized. Their worlds burned. Their people screamed. Their names were forgotten. Ambassador Chun walked through it without changing his expression. His delegation did the same. The Council observers noted this with some surprise. Most species were weeping by this point. Finally, they reached the great doors of the Council chamber. The doors were made of something that looked like frozen starlight. They were older than human civilization itself. They opened slowly, revealing the space beyond. The Council chamber was vast. It could have held an entire city within its walls. Floating platforms carried observers from hundreds of species, all come to watch the judgment of humanity. At the far end of the chamber, 12 thrones floated in a crescent formation. Upon each throne sat a member of the Council. High Arbiter Zixalathan occupied the central throne. It was a crystalline being, its body made of living gemstone that pulsed with cold white light. It had no face in the human sense, but everyone could feel its attention like a weight pressing down upon them. The other Council members were equally impressive. There was a creature made entirely of controlled flame. Another appeared to be a mass of writhing tentacles the size of a building. A third looked almost humanoid, but with skin that shifted through every color of the spectrum. Each one represented a civilization millions of years old. Each one commanded fleets that could burn entire star systems. Ambassador Chun walked to the center of the chamber and stopped. He looked up at the Council without fear. The chamber fell silent. Even the whispers of the observers died away. High Arbiter Zixalathan spoke. His voice was like breaking glass, beautiful and terrible at the same time. Species human, you have come as commanded. This is wise. Those who refuse the summons are hunted and destroyed without the mercy of judgment. Ambassador Chun remained silent. You stand accused of multiple violations of cosmic law, the Arbiter continued. You have expanded beyond your birth system without authorization. You have developed weapons that exceed your permitted technology level. You have refused to pay tribute to the recognized powers. You have ignored 17 separate edicts from this Council. The Arbiter's light pulsed brighter. The penalty for these crimes is sterilization. Your worlds will burn. Your people will die. Your name will be erased from history. Do you have anything to say before we pass judgment? Ambassador Chun took a single step forward. "We were not aware of your laws," he said calmly. "We wish to discuss terms of peaceful cooperation between our peoples." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Dozens of species, each one more powerful than humanity, found this statement hilarious. "Silence," commanded the arbiter. The laughter stopped instantly. "You do not discuss. You do not negotiate. You comply or you are unmade. This council has erased species older than your star. We have shattered worlds before your kind crawled from the oceans. You are nothing." Ambassador Chun smiled. Every observer in the chamber felt a sudden chill. That smile was wrong. That was not the smile of a man about to die. That was the smile of someone who knew something they did not. "I understand," Ambassador Chun said softly. "You have given us your terms. Now let me give you ours." He raised his wrist and tapped a small device attached to it. The galaxy was about to change forever. The signal traveled at speeds that should have been impossible. It crossed the galaxy in seconds, reaching every corner of known space simultaneously. It was not a message. It was an awakening. Fleet Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UTS Defiance and watched her tactical display transform. Where moments ago it had shown the positions of a handful of human ships, now it revealed something that made her breath catch in her throat. Even though she had known this moment was coming, seeing it happen was something else entirely. All across the galaxy, humanity's true fleet revealed itself. For 50 years, Project Prometheus had been building in secret. Not just weapons, not just ships. An entire shadow navy, hidden using technology the Council could not even imagine. Ships had been constructed in hidden shipyards inside hollow asteroids. They had been equipped with cloaking systems based on architect designs that bent light and energy around themselves, making them invisible to any sensor. Now, at Ambassador Chun's signal, 10,000 ships decloaked. They appeared around every Council homeworld. They materialized near every major military base. They surrounded every space station, every fleet formation, every center of power in the 12 dominions. One moment, space was empty. The next, human warships filled the darkness like angry stars. But these were not ordinary warships. The human vessels that had accompanied Ambassador Chun to the Nexus began to change. Their hulls split apart and reconfigured themselves, shedding the primitive disguises that had fooled Council sensors. What emerged was something ancient and terrible. The ships grew larger, their shapes shifting into configurations that some of the older Council species recognized with horror. These were architect vessels. Or rather, they were human ships built using architect designs. They were called erasure platforms, and they were the most devastating weapons ever created. In the Council chamber, chaos exploded. The 12 rulers screamed orders into communicators that no longer worked. Humanity had severed their communication networks in the first 3 seconds of the operation. They tried to contact their guards, but those guards found their weapons sparking and dying in their hands. Overloaded by targeted pulses of energy. High Arbiter Zixalothan's crystalline body flickered with colors that indicated extreme distress. "This is impossible," it shrieked. "Our scans showed primitive fusion drives. Basic projectile weapons. You are a level 4 civilization at most." Ambassador Chun remained perfectly still in the center of the chamber, his smile unchanged. "Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show," he said. "We have been preparing for this moment for 200 years. Every ship you examined was a decoy. Every technology you analyzed was a performance. We knew you would summon us eventually. We knew what you had done to others. And we prepared accordingly." Outside the Nexus, the human fleet took up position around the ancient station. But they did not fire. Instead, Admiral Vasquez's voice broadcast on every frequency. in every language, to every species in the galaxy. This is Fleet Admiral Elena Vasquez of the Terran Accord. To all species of the Cosmic Council, and to all peoples under their rule, hear my words carefully. She paused, letting the message sink in. Your military assets are now under our targeting systems. Your homeworlds are surrounded. Every ship, every station, every orbital platform in the 12 dominions is within our weapons range. We can fire at any moment. And when we fire, there will be no defense. Across the galaxy, Council commanders stared at their tactical displays with growing terror. The human ship should not have existed. The technology they were displaying was impossible. It was the technology of the architects, the dead civilization that had built the Nexus itself. The technology that the Council had believed destroyed forever. The Cosmic Council has ruled through fear for 100,000 years, Admiral Vasquez continued. They have destroyed 17 species whose only crime was existing. They have enslaved countless worlds. They have murdered trillions. Today, that ends. In the Council chamber, the other 11 rulers had fallen into stunned silence. Some had collapsed upon their thrones. Others stared at the holographic displays showing human ships around their homeworlds. The Flame Lord of the Pyrrhithi Dominion actually flickered and dimmed, its fire fading with its Hope. Ambassador Chun stepped forward, looking up at the Council. We know what you did to the architects, he said. They were the greatest civilization this galaxy ever knew. They wanted peace. They wanted cooperation. They tried to convince you to rule with wisdom instead of terror. And you murdered them for it. Zixalathan's light pulsed weakly. The architects were a threat to galactic stability. They had to be contained. They had to be killed, you mean? Chun's voice hardened. But they were smarter than you. Before they died, they hid pieces of their knowledge across the galaxy. They left messages for any species that might find them. They hoped that one day, someone would be able to do what they could not. He pulled out a small device and projected a hologram into the air. It showed symbols in a language so ancient that most species had forgotten it ever existed. The language of the architects. We found their vault on one of our moons. We spent 2 centuries learning their secrets, their science, their technology, their history. Chun's eyes locked with the central crystal of Zixalathan's form, and their final message. The holographic symbols shifted and translated into human words. We could not stop them, Chun read aloud. Perhaps you can. Be better than us. But if you cannot be better, be faster. He lowered the device. The architects gave us a choice. We could use their weapons to burn the galaxy clean, just as you have done so many times. We could become you. His voice dropped. Or we could be something different. The chamber waited in terrible silence. We have chosen to give you a chance, Chun said. One chance. More than you ever gave anyone else. Surrender unconditionally. Disband the Council. Submit to new galactic governance that respects all species equally. Do this, and your people will live. He raised his wrist, finger hovering over the device. You gave us 40 days to comply with your demands. We are giving you 3 minutes to comply with ours. The countdown began. The silence in the Council chamber was absolute. Billions of beings across hundreds of observation platforms held their breath. The holographic feeds broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy showed no movement, no sound, nothing but the small humans standing before the thrones of gods. 3 minutes. 180 seconds. That was all the time the Council had to decide the fate of their civilization. High Arbiter Zixalathan processed what was happening. For the first time in its very long life, it faced something it could not control. The crystalline being had ruled for 40,000 years. It had ordered the destruction of entire species. It had never known fear. Until now. You are bluffing, Zixalothin said, but its voice wavered. No species could hide this level of technology from our sensors. No species could coordinate an attack across the entire galaxy simultaneously. You are bluffing. Ambassador Chun checked the timer on his wrist. 2 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. Across the galaxy, panic spread through Council command structures. Admirals who had commanded fleets for centuries stared at tactical displays they could not understand. The human ships were not just present. They were everywhere. There was no gap in their coverage, no weakness to exploit, no possibility of escape or counterattack. On the Pirathi homeworld, a planet of living flame, the military council contacted their representative on the Nexus. Surrender, they begged. Do whatever they want. We have no way to fight this. The Sylvathi, whose liquid metal bodies could survive almost any environment, calculated their odds of resistance. The numbers came back 0. Not small. 0. There was no scenario in which they survived a fight with humanity. One by one, the homeworlds of the 12 dominions reached the same conclusion. They had spent millennia believing they were untouchable. Now they understood the truth. They had only survived because no one had possessed the power to challenge them. Until humanity found the Architect Vault. In the council chamber, time continued to pass. 2 minutes became 90 seconds. 90 seconds became 60. Ambassador Chen watched the council members with calm patience. He saw the fear spreading among them. He saw ancient powers crumbling under the weight of their own terror. Part of him felt satisfaction. These beings had murdered entire civilizations. They had burned worlds filled with innocent people. They deserved to feel this fear, but another part of him felt something else. Sadness, perhaps, or pity. The council had been so powerful for so long that they had forgotten a simple truth. All power is temporary. All empires fall. All tyrants meet their end. 45 seconds, he announced. Councillor Veshtari, the Flame Lord of the Pirathi, finally spoke. Its voice crackled with heat and desperation. We surrender. I speak for my dominion. We accept your terms. The words hung in the air. One of the 12 had broken. Councillor Methrix, the swarm intelligence of the Hive Collective, buzzed with 1,000 voices speaking in unison. The Hive also surrenders. We see the mathematics of this situation. Resistance equals extinction. 2 down. 10 remaining. Other council members began to speak, their voices overlapping in panic. Some offered surrender. Some begged for mercy. Some tried to negotiate different terms. Ambassador Chen listened to all of it, but he did not stop the countdown. 30 seconds. High Arbiter Zixalothin rose from its throne. Its crystalline body blazed with light so bright that some observers had to shield their eyes. It had ruled the council for 40,000 years. It had personally ordered the deaths of 17 species. It had never bowed to anyone. It would not bow now. Silence, the Arbiter commanded. Its voice shook the chamber, and every other council member fell quiet. You forget who we are. We are the 12 Ascended Dominions. We have ruled this galaxy since before your species learned to use fire. We have crushed civilizations older and greater than yours. We will not surrender to insects who stumbled upon technology they cannot truly understand. Zixalothin began to glow even brighter. It was accessing the ancient power systems of the Nexus itself, systems built by the architects but now controlled by the council. Energy crackled around its crystalline form. You think you have won because you found some old weapons, the Arbiter said. The architects fell to us. Their technology fell to us. And you will fall to us as well. Ambassador Chun watched this display without moving. His expression did not change. His hand remained near the device on his wrist. 20 seconds, he said quietly. I will tear the atoms from your body, Zixalothin promised. I will burn your worlds myself. I will hunt down every human in existence and feed them to the stars." It raised a crystalline limb, gathering the power it had stolen from the Nexus systems. Energy swirled around it like a hurricane of light. In that moment, it looked like a god preparing to smite an insect. 10 seconds. Zixaluthan prepared to strike. The other council members watched in horror. The observers on the platforms pulled back, trying to get away from what was about to happen. 5 seconds. The Arbiter hurled its attack. A beam of pure energy, capable of vaporizing a battleship. Lanced toward Ambassador Chen. It never reached him. A shield appeared around the human delegation. A barrier of golden light that the Council had seen before. Long ago, in the hands of the architects. The attack splashed against it harmlessly and dissipated into nothing. Ambassador Chen lowered his hand from his wrist. "Time's up," he said, and across the galaxy. The human fleet opened fire, but not on what anyone expected. The galaxy held its breath as the human fleet opened fire, but the targets were not homeworlds. They were not cities or populations. Instead, every erasure platform in humanity's fleet aimed at the same type of target: military infrastructure. Orbital defense stations vanished in flashes of light that seemed to fold them out of existence. Dreadnought fleets that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia simply ceased to be. Weapon platforms, military shipyards, ammunition stores, and command centers disappeared as if they had never existed. The architect technology did not destroy in the traditional sense. It erased. It removed matter from reality itself. One moment, the Council's military might filled space with countless ships and stations. The next moment, there was nothing but empty darkness. The attack lasted 17 seconds. When it was over, the 12 Dominions had no fleet, no weapons, no means to wage war. Their homeworlds remained untouched. Their civilian populations were unharmed. Their cities still stood. Their cultures still existed. But their power was gone. In the council chamber, High Arbiter Zixaluthan collapsed. Its crystalline body hit the floor of its throne platform and lay there, light flickering weakly. The other council members stared at the holographic displays, showing the extent of their loss. 100,000 years of military buildup, gone in less than half a minute. Ambassador Chen walked toward the fallen Arbiter. His footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. Every observer on every platform watched him approach the being that had once been the most powerful creature in the galaxy. He stopped beside Zixaluthan and crouched down to its level. "We could have erased your species," he said softly. "Every world, every station, every memory of your existence. The architects gave us that power. They gave us the means to do to you exactly what you did to others." The Arbiter's light pulsed weakly. It had no words left, but we chose not to. Chun's voice carried throughout the chamber, amplified by the Nexus systems. The architects taught us many things. Their technology, their history, their failures. They showed us what they wished they had done differently. He stood up and turned to face the billions watching across the galaxy. The architects were peaceful. They believed in cooperation and mutual respect. When the council rose to power, the architects tried to reason with them. They tried diplomacy. They tried negotiation. They believed that if they just showed enough patience, enough understanding, the council would eventually choose peace. His expression hardened. They were wrong. The council murdered them for their kindness. The architects died because they were not willing to fight. They left behind their technology so that someone else could succeed where they failed. But they also left a warning. Power without the will to use it is meaningless. Ambassador Chen raised his arms to encompass the entire chamber. Humanity has learned this lesson. We built the weapons. We positioned the fleet. We prepared for war. But we also learned something the architects forgot. Victory does not require extinction. You can defeat your enemies without becoming them. He turned back to the council members, who sat frozen on their thrones. The council is dissolved. Your military power is gone. Your ability to threaten others has ended. But your peoples will live. Your cultures will survive. Your civilizations will continue. He paused. This is mercy. This is what you never gave to others. Remember it. The arbiter stirred slightly on the ground. Its voice came out as a whisper. You think you have won? You think this changes anything? Others will rise. Others will seek power. Without the council to maintain order, the galaxy will descend into chaos. Ambassador Chun looked down at the ancient being. You may be right, he said. The galaxy might fall into chaos. Wars might break out. Species might fight each other for territory and resources. That is possible. He smiled slightly. But it is also possible that something better will emerge. A true federation of equals. A community of species working together instead of one group dominating all others. He extended his hand to the fallen arbiter. The architects believed in that possibility. They died hoping for it. We choose to believe in it too. And we are willing to stand guard while the rest of the galaxy learns to trust each other. Zixalathan stared at the offered hand for a long moment. In its 40,000 years of life, no one had ever shown it mercy. No one had ever offered peace after victory. The concept was foreign to its understanding. Slowly, painfully, it reached out and took the human's hand. The chamber erupted. Beings who had watched in terror now watched in amazement. This was unprecedented. This was impossible. This was something new. Admiral Vasquez's voice spoke across all frequencies one final time. To all species of the former Cosmic Council, and to all peoples who lived under their rule, the age of domination is over. What comes next is up to you. Humanity will not rule this galaxy. We will not replace one tyranny with another, but we will remain vigilant. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. And we will never forget what happened here. The fleet began to withdraw from Council homeworlds, though it did not disappear entirely. Some ships remained in every system, watching, waiting, ensuring that the old powers did not attempt to rebuild their war machines. Over the following months, a new structure began to form. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered at the Nexus to discuss governance. Arguments broke out constantly. Old hatreds flared. Progress was slow and painful, but it was progress. 300 years later, the Galactic Federation celebrated its founding anniversary. Humanity had never taken a leadership position. Every time they were offered power, they refused. They preferred to serve as guardians, protectors, and sometimes mediators. But in every corner of the galaxy, in 1,000 different languages, beings told stories about the day a young species from a small blue world had faced the gods of the cosmos. They told how humanity had possessed the power to destroy everything and had chosen mercy instead. The architect's final gift had not been their weapons. It had been a choice. Humanity had chosen wisely, and the galaxy had been reborn.